what are your predictions for the future of the internet and the way that small business in particular will use it?
Yeah, I think to date small businesses have largely conflated the internet and the web. To small businesses, being online, being on the internet means having a web presence, maybe using social media. I think that the next big step is we're starting to see computers emerge out of this kind of big dark cave they've existed in and into the human world, the physical world. And we're seeing this in things like wearable technology, things like Google Glass. We're seeing it in the wristbands that people are using to track their health. But we're also seeing it in smart homes and smart cities where you've got internet connected devices that will never really display a web page, but will capture data from around the internet and use it to do interesting things, whether that's turn a light on and off, set your TV to record the things you want, feed you relevant information as you're walking around the city. And there's a real opportunity here for small businesses, perhaps even ones who haven't made the most of the web revolution, to catch up with the Internet of Things or the physical computing revolution and leapfrog other people. Simple examples are, if you are wearing something like Google Glass, which is all of the technology of a smartphone packed into a pair of glasses, you've got a tiny display over one eye, and what goes onto that display can be triggered by your location. So small businesses can trigger location-based advertising promoting their services as somebody walks around a city. And you're getting to grips with this idea, that being online, being a digital age business, isn't about having a website anymore. It's about more than that. I think it's going to be a challenge for people, but also a real opportunity.
I've seen a few people wearing the Google Glass, and they do take a bit of getting used to. Tom, are there any businesses, like, I know they're not really mainstream out there yet, but are there any businesses very early on that are already doing this kind of stuff?
I think what's really interesting is actually some of the businesses that are doing the most advanced development for that technology are in the UK. So some of the kind of the forward-thinking agencies and the forward-thinking developers very quickly leaped into that space and started to grab hold of that. And we've seen examples of, I think Virgin Airways are starting to use Google Glass for customer service. And we're starting to see a number of interesting applications, both in business to business and in business to consumer. So, for example, overlaying service information for a garage mechanic of the car he's working on, so that he knows exactly what to do with that car, what its service history is, when things have been fixed, when he's looking at that precise piece of machinery. And I think it's both those quite almost mundane but really practical uses that are going to drive it into the workspace, but also the much sexier consumer applications, this ability to do contextual communication with consumers based on the weather, or based on where they are, or based on their social graph. So, which of their Facebook friends is also nearby. Maybe if you're a coffee shop owner, you could actually trigger special offers when you know that 2 or more friends are within a radius of your coffee shop and they like particular particular brands or particular drinks. There's all sorts of interesting things you can start to do by capturing this data and feeding it back out into the physical, the social world.
Have you got any thoughts on this area, Becky? I know it's a bit of a crazy future.
Yeah, I think it's absolutely about how technology is going to help people in the future, and there is a lot more of a focus on this altruistic opportunity of the internet and how it can help. So, like the health tracking, like being able to predict things that may be happening to you in a year's time if you don't sort out your exercise level or your diet or your stress levels or whatever. So actually there's big things now that can be in the pipeline actually fully affecting your life, as if the internet doesn't affect our lives as it is. It will properly have an impact on your life. And I think historically change was influenced by technology and driven by technology, but it's almost flipped now that consumers are demanding technological change. They're demanding technology to be quicker and catch up and influencing therefore where digital companies and development companies are going, because they know that people want to know about their heart rate and they want to be able to track their breathing patterns and they want to be able to connect with their friend who's down the road because they didn't know their friend was down the road. It's all being driven now by consumers. So to stay ahead of the internet, and the companies behind it need to spend as much time as they can with consumers, learning, okay, what's the next big thing? What's the thing that you would like now? How would you better be able to interact with people? And it is absolutely and the contextual, what is relevant to me. And I always cite Minority Report, because I always think Minority Report and movies and also an example of not that far off where we are now with retinal scanning and delivering these specific products in the space. I mean, it's not predicting, who's doing what to who, but my point is there's lots of interaction there in digital things and fingerprinting and moving digitals around on boards and things you would never have even considered 10 years ago. So who knows what the future holds, but absolutely everything being connected everywhere will be not that far away, I don't think.